Hi guys, and welcome to I think probably a fairly quick video. I'm actually halfway through a walk, and I wasn't going to do any filming today, but I did what I often do on walks. I turned left instead of turning right, and I've discovered an entirely new place. I started off at St Aidans Reserve near Swillington on the edge of Leeds. It's run by the RSPB. It's a lovely spot. It's an old up and cast coal mine that's been returned to its natural, well, not its natural state. Nature's been allowed to take hold of the man-made workings, and I was just going to go for a little walk around there and not bother with YouTube. But I left the reserve. The southern edge of the reserve is the River Aire, runs along it, and on the opposite bank to St Aidans, I believe, is an old coal mine, a place called Mickletown. I'm not sure what its status is, but it seems to be sort of a cross between a public park and a nature reserve. So I headed into there. Would probably normally have turned right, gone through that area, come to a marina, go by the side of the Aire and Calder navigation, and then back into the St Aidans. But instead I've turned left, and there's a whole long parcel of land that runs down the side of the River Aire, and there are ings and reed beds and wooded areas. It's lovely, and what looks like a disused railway, which is what I'm walking on now, the banking for it, but it's much more pronounced on the way back. So I thought, oh, what the heck. Might as well do a little video. I think that's the river. Yes, it is, it's flowing. So join me on this unexpected wander around an old coal mine, along an old railway that seems to be returning to nature. The weather's lovely now, it's quite still, it's about 8 degrees. It was awful this morning and yesterday, windy and rainy, but as I got here there was sort of a driving wind, but that stopped, and it's delightful, and the birds are ever so busy. I think the mild weather has kicked everything off early. Even saw 3 bees on a willow tree. Blimey. No idea how far this goes. I'll have to check the map. Well, I've had a quick look on the internet and I can't really find out much just off my phone. It's not ideal, so I'll do a bit more research when I get home. But if you know anything about the Mickletown pit and did it have a railway and where it ran, let me know in the comments. For now though, I didn't realise this footpath continued, and I don't really want to, but can't stop myself from keeping on going to see where it goes. I think it goes to Castleford. I'm on the south bank of the Aire, walking east. I don't think you can turn around and come back on the other bank. But anyway, somewhere new, something different. Looks like, is it on by water at the other side? Oh yeah, there's a primary school there. So there would have been a pit at this side, there was a pit at that side, now on by water. Not convinced about my theory that that back there was a railway banking. It seems to have just gone to this now, which clearly looks like flood defences, given the river's there, and the river looks like it's a good few feet above the level of the surrounding land. We're in the lower Aire Valley. The Aire's got about 15 miles, maybe 20 to go, where it joins the Ouse at Aire. And this area is a wonderful environment for wildlife. All the way up to Leeds really. There are ings and flooded areas, and then as you come down here there's just mile after mile of it. It's actually a bit weird because I know exactly where I am, but I've never walked here in my life before, so I feel a little bit disorientated. I've just seen the bus to Castleford going through Aire and Bywater, a village I've driven through. I've gone through on the bus hundreds of times, but from this perspective it all looks a bit strange. So this is where I've come from, and there's some more ings there. I mean, the whole thing would have been ings, wouldn't it, before we started cultivating it. Not sure where that is in front of me. That might be Castleford. This is definitely Mickleford. This is definitely Walton Bywater. Beware outfall. Okay. Looks like there's an old landing stage there with an ad. Oh yeah, welcome to the old Staithes Quay, Alton Bywater, sponsored by the Victoria Hotel, Main Street. I guess they used a ship called by River. This then, according to the map, is Boat Lane, goes to Mickletown. Boat Lane, Methley Myers, subsidence pumping station. So there is a circular walk. I can head down there, walk through Mickletown, I think Methley maybe, brings you back to the marina that I was telling you about, and you can then cross the river back into St Aidans. And as I say, part of me wants to turn back, but part of me is just compelled to keep going, because I think down here is where the Aire and Calder Navigation Canal meets the River Aire. When a lot of trade was by boat, the River Aire was unnavigable, so they made a canal that in places runs parallel to the river. But I think it also forms part of the river that comes through Wakefield, which I forget the name of. There's sections of the Aire and Calder on that river as well. So imagine if whoever owned all this sodden land between Leeds and the Ouse, really, between Leeds and the Ouse, if they were to just give it all up and a body could be established to make one gigantic nature reserve, it would be incredible. Absolutely incredible. Anyhow, I know where I am. The road you can see in the distance. I don't know if you can see it. There's cars travelling along it. That's the Ridge Road that we visited in one of our earlier videos. It's the road that runs from Castleford up towards Aberford. Been used since prehistoric times I guess, certainly since Roman times. I'll drop a link to that video, it was a driving video. I'll drop a link to that in the description. But we've passed Allerton Bywater now. You come out of Allerton Bywater, you turn right, and you cross that road, which takes you to Castleford. And often the land at the other side of the river, the fields, it can be flooded, and that road gets closed. And the buses have about a 10-mile diversion to get the last mile of the journey into Castleford. I mean, it is pretty good now. Anyway, there's a series of different reserves. There's St Aidans behind us, then we're nearly at Fairbanks, which is another RSPB reserve lower down the valley. So this Lower Aire Valley's incredible. But if the whole thing was joined up, you could have a nature reserve 3, 4, 5 miles wide. No, maybe not. You could have a nature reserve a couple of miles wide, 20 miles long. I wouldn't think there'd be anything like it in the country. And all sitting in the heart of a highly populated, industrialised area. One for the electricity pylon boffs coming up. And everywhere you look, there's signs of industry. Old roads, old footpaths. The whole area on the right, it seems to be a little willow plantation. Not sure if that's planted for nature, for dealing with water management, or even as a crop, because it is now, I believe, cropped to be used in the biofuel power stations. I think, again, I might be wrong, but I think that I read somewhere that they let it grow for 3 years, cut it down to the ground, and it grows back again. It's a remarkable tree, totally sustainable. Will go on providing a crop for probably hundreds of years, and it's amazing for wildlife. As I don't know if I said earlier, I've already saw 3 bees on a willow tree at the reserve 22nd of February, 8 degrees, and they were gorging themselves on the little catkins. We must be at Castleford. It's a really interesting town. I think I might actually have to come one Sunday morning and explore it. I've never been really, apart from to the shops and for work. But the centre, there's rivers, there's locks, there's old railways. I might have to put it on the list. I never thought of living in Castleford, but those houses there, they're fantastic. Look at the view, and they've all got, looks like they've been designed for floods. There's a big wall, and they built, that's a defence, isn't it? Yeah, flood defence in front of them. But they've all got that first floor balcony looking out over this. All the way down there. Wow. And then at this side, that's the end of the Ridge Road there. Crosses the river, then the canal, I think. But my curiosity is satisfied. This is what's at the end. I've just got all that way back to go. But the place, I told you it was interesting, where 4 bodies of water meet. I think this to my left is the River Aire, and I think this to my right is the Aire and Calder Navigation Canal that comes from Wakefield. But there are bits of the Aire and Calder Navigation Canal going to Leeds further up. It's not one long line of water. I think it's sections where it's being built to get past unnavigable parts of the river. And I can't for the life of me think of the name of the river that comes through Wakefield. But then the river continues there. I think that must be the River Aire. And then the canal is through the trees. A better view there of the locks. The river and the Aire and Calder. So the sign says, I've just looked at it on the photo part of my camera, get a better shot of it. Left through the locks will take you to Goole, right is the Calder and Hebble, and the river that comes through Wakefield is the River Calder. Straight on is no entry, as there is a weir, so that'll be the river. So yeah, fantastic, the network of canals really. All the industry in this area, all linked to the sea. I really wish we'd start using it again. Anyway, time to go back. So just heading back the way I came. Nothing much to report. This middle section is quite boggy. Just trying to find a dry line. I remember doing in geography at school about floodplains, and obviously it doesn't apply where you get banks like that, but where you don't get banks and the rivers flood, you get the most beautiful soil as all the silt is washed down. The rivers flood and it settles and builds up over thousands of years, which is why places like the Vale of York and Lower Derwent Valley and the Lower Aire Valley are fantastic areas for farming. So I'm back where I started this. If you remember, I said brief video about an old railway and an old colliery. But now, of course, I'm not sure was ever an old railway. I think it's probably just the river defences. I think it was in this scrub and woodland on the left that I heard a bittern on my way down. It's a huge success story for the RSPB. I'm not sure if they were extinct or almost extinct in the UK, but they were gradually reintroduced, and apparently this whole valley from the Humber, Ouse, Lower Aire and all the series of wetlands I've been talking about, the birds have gone season by season, they've gone further inland, and now they regularly nest at St Aidans. I've never seen one. I've heard them numerous times because they have this call that is known as the bittern boom. I think it sounds like that noise that when you used to blow on top of a open milk bottle as a child, that deep sound. Anyway, I heard one. I'm sure if I told somebody they might say it's too early, but I did hear one, and it wasn't on the reserve, it was over this side of the river. Almost back at the reserve now. I'll show you the way I came out this morning. Yeah, the banking continues into the trees there. Footpath there to Mickletown. This is the way I came out of the reserve this morning. This is the site of the old pit and spoil heaps, and the path that we now know takes you to Castleford. St Aidans there, through the trees. Leeds, about 5 miles, 6 miles that way. And as we now know, Castleford, a couple of miles that way. So we're back on the north bank of the river now. Along the lake pathways. That's helpful. Blackthorn, I think. I say the same thing every year. A way to tell the difference between blackthorn and hawthorn. Blackthorn flowers before the leaves come out. Hawthorn, the leaves come out before the flowers. So this fence is the fence for St Aidans, when St Aidans was an open cast coal mine. A beautiful lichen on this tree. Just heading back into the reserve now. Going back the same way that I came out. I would normally go all the way around, but not today. This is Bowers Lake behind, and then the visitor centre on the hill. It's the old mining machine. And a fascinating network of flooded lakes. It's the first time I've actually seen water flowing between them. A lot of black-headed gulls in this lake in the nesting season, which I think is what you can hear. And another month or so from now, they're absolutely frantic. Quite badly affected last year by the bird flu, which was quite sad to see, I suppose, because they live in such tight big colonies, but they were everywhere. These are just the carcasses of them. Not sure what's going on with bird flu this year. If you know, leave me a comment about it. Just brings a smile to my face walking down here past all this. Well, thanks for watching this impromptu video. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself and discovered a few new areas to go. If you did like the video, please give it a big thumbs up, like it. If you like this kind of content, do consider subscribing to it. Please share the videos with your social media, tell your friends about it. Say it every time, it's still quite early days for me. I'm trying to make some headway in this very busy world that is YouTube. But thanks for watching. Until the next time, I will say cheerio.